the uniting feature here is what it means to people. If you have a building which means more than the sum of its parts, it has symbolic significance, it has emotional resonance, as well as very, very practical functions which have to happen. My name is Thangam Debbonaire, I'm the MP for Bristol West. So today we're in the Bristol Beacon, which is, the name sort of speaks for itself. It is a symbol of Bristol. It's part of our history and our heritage. Ships used to come right up to what is now the entrance to the Bristol Beacon to unload their goods. But it's the most magnificent concert space, performance space, actually a few performance spaces. It's also the venue where people come for real city moments. I will always remember, and I've got a picture of it on my wall, when my young nephew, now quite a tall young man, but he was a little 11-year-old, coming to get an award from a Bristol City footballer, and the place was packed, and it was that sort of event where whole families were there to celebrate something really Bristolian. And it's a beacon, it's a symbol of part of our renewal as a city, which coming out of the COVID pandemic and also coming out of the Black Lives Matter moment, because it has had a rename. I think this is one of my favourite parts of the centre of Bristol, which is the constituency I'm fortunate enough to represent. So the Palace of Westminster Restoration and Renewal programme is something I got involved in as I'm now Shadow Leader of the House and have been for 3 years, which puts me on what is called the House of Commons Commission, and now that means I'm on the client board for the project, for the Restoration and Renewal project. So I'm passionate about both this building and the Palace of Westminster. Now what the Palace of Westminster does is it is both a symbol and a living, working building. It's a symbol of our democracy. It's a historic building. It commemorates and actually marks and is the site of so much of our history. If you follow anything that happened in the Civil War in the 17th century, so much of it took place literally in the Palace of Westminster. Some of it had to be restored. After the Great Fire of 1834, a huge amount of damage was done. So we needed to renew the building then, and we've learned a lot about how to do it, or rather how not to do it. But then it was also very badly damaged in the Second World War. But also we love it as parliamentarians, but the public loves it. The public likes the fact that they can come in, they can see their democracy in action, as well as seeing history actually built into the building. That's also true of Bristol Beacon. The public has a great deal of affection for this building, loves being here, uses it as a social space, but also it has heritage value, and there are challenges when you are trying to restore a building. I mean, I'm smiling because the challenges are enormous. And we've learnt a lot today, and we've just had a really good discussion where people involved in the Bristol Beacon restoration renewal and the parliamentary one, we've shared experiences, and I think we in the parliamentary R&R have been able to learn a lot from just seeing how they've done what they're doing here in Bristol Beacon. We are close to reopening, hopefully very soon, with the Bristol Beacon. We're a long way off for the parliamentary estate, but it does have to happen. Another connection which I picked up on today, and I don't know why as a musician I hadn't really picked it up before, is the issue of acoustics. So as a musician, I've been fascinated by the work that Bristol Beacon have been doing on acoustics, but actually as a parliamentarian, where noise, communication and us speaking and hearing each other is fundamental to our work. I think there's been some really interesting sharing of knowledge this morning on the technical aspects, but also just some of the big picture, what do we need to think about, which I've been really pleased to be part of that discussion.